Thank you. Thank you all for joining us virtually as we celebrate a very special day, Veterans Day. I would like to take a moment to thank our veterans today. Today is such a memorable experience for the HMS family. Our goal today is to show thanks to our veterans by sharing stories, learning lessons, enjoying the playing and singing of patriotic music, and most importantly, recognizing our veterans for their service to our great country, the United States of America. Tomorrow is the 11th day of the 11th month of this year, Veterans Day. Veterans Day means different things to different people. It could be a day of remembrance, a day of celebration. No matter the reason, it is a day of honor and respect.
At the heart of the very most important events like Veterans Day, we observe the posting of colors. Today you will see members of the local VFW and the American Legion Honor Guard posting the colors. These men and women have served in the Korean, Vietnam, Desert Storm era, and Operation Enduring Freedom conflicts.
You will notice the Color Guard Sergeant at Arms, providing the Color Guard with instructions. He is the highest ranking member of the Color Guard. This past January, the Highland community lost a very valuable member of its veteran family, Mr. Tony Heisler. Tony participated in the Highland Middle School Veterans Day Assembly for more years than we can count, with many of those serving as the Color Guard Sergeant at Arms. Tony was a member of the VFW Post number 5694, Highland, Illinois, past commander, and Lee Itton Post number 439, American Legion, Highland, Illinois, past commander. He was born and raised in St. Rose, Illinois, and went to St. Rose School. He served in the U.S. Army active duty during the Korean War overseas from 1954 to 1955. He worked for Killian Trucking and later for Ready Mix, both in Highland, for 40 years as a mixer and cement tanker truck driver. He also helped on his father-in-law's farm, later purchasing the farm in 1965 and living there for many years. He farmed it until 2003 when he quit farming and moved into town. He enjoyed having breakfast at Hardee's with his friends. He was very active with the Highland American Legion and VFW, also with their military honors group. Thank you for allowing us to honor Mr. Heisler today in his many years of service to this country and his dedication to honoring veterans every single day. Mr. Heisler, you will be greatly missed.
Many times we see the color guards at the beginning of parades. It is out of respect to the flag and to the veterans who serve under the flag that we stand at attention, remove our hats, face the flag, and cover our hearts with our right hands while the colors are posted. If there is anything taken more seriously than the U.S. flag, it is probably the national anthem, the Star-Spangled Banner. It accompanies just about every major American function.
After the colors are posted, I encourage you to sing along while the HMS Band, conducted by Mr. Gibb Clark, plays the national anthem. As the Color Guard posts the colors, please join with us as we show great respect to the flag by standing, placing your right hand over your heart, and face the colors. Please continue standing with your right hand placed over your heart while the HMS Band plays our national anthem.
Orders, please stand.
You will notice the Color Guard Sergeant at Arms, Tony Heisler, providing the Color Guard with instructions. He is the highest ranking member of the Color Guard and served as a combat engineer during the Korean era. Lenny Gall, carrying the lead rifle, proudly served during the Vietnam era. Wes Stever is carrying the American flag and served in the Army. Mike Vagley, carrying the VFW post 5694 colors, served in the Navy. Jim Hobbs served during the Vietnam era, is carrying the American Legion post 439 colors. Matt Teddy served during the Vietnam era and is carrying the black EOW MIA flag. Bill Halcombe served during the Vietnam era and is carrying the rear rifle.
Prepare your post. of color. Present arms.
The lesson of the day that we want to share with you is called the freedom and the right to vote. In this great country of ours, when someone turns 18, they have the right to vote. Not all countries give their citizens the right to vote. The news reports almost daily about people in different countries who fight against their governments because they want to have what we have in America.
Not all countries have the freedoms we have. In the United States, we have the freedom of speech, freedom of religion, the right to assemble, the right to vote, and much, much more. Now, let's make a connection between the recent election, your veteran family members, and the freedoms we have today. Your veteran family member joined the United States military because of their love for this country and the belief in what we stand for.
The veterans we are honoring today most likely joined the military not because they wanted to fight in a war, but because of their strong belief in what the United States of America stands for. The past Tuesday, on November 3rd, there was an election. You may have noticed the thousands of yard signs and commercials. Citizens 18 years or older had the right to vote for a candidate of their choice. If it were not for the veterans in the room today, your parents would not have had the right to vote. If it were not for the veterans in the room today, we would not have the freedom we have today.
Our homework for you tonight is to thank a veteran. Specifically, tell them that you appreciate them for being a veteran. And then ask them to tell you a story about why they joined the military. Our veterans and their stories have helped shape and mold our country. Remember it, treasure it, and don't ever let it fade away. The history of this country and the men and women who protect it should never be forgotten. While Mr. Gibb Clark and the HMS Chorus sing God Bless America, please think about your homework, make a mental list of all the veterans in your family and neighborhood, and think about ways in which you can thank them for serving our great country.
Oh Mr. Gibb Clark in the HMS Chorus.
Chief Chris Conrad has served in the U.S. Army, the Clinton County Sheriff's Department, and the Highland Police Department. Chief Conrad grew up in Carlisle, Illinois, graduating from Carlisle High School in 1995. After spending time in the Army as a combat engineer, Chris returned home and worked as a corrections officer for Clinton County Sheriff's Department. While he attended Kaskaskia College in Centralia, Illinois, where he earned an associate's degree in administration of justice. Chris retired from the Army Reserves in 2010. Chris was hired by the Highland Police Department in 2000, where as an officer he served as a patrolman, investigator, and bike officer. Chris returned to school in 2006, graduating with his bachelor's degree in 2009 and his law degree in 2014, both from St. Louis University. Chris was promoted to sergeant in 2009, lieutenant in 2014, and chief of police in 2018. Chris currently serves as the public safety director for the city of Highland, overseeing the police, fire, and EMS departments. Chris and his wife Amy live in Highland with their 2 children, Olivia and Aiden. Please welcome Chief Chris Conrad.
All right, it's my pleasure to introduce Congressman John Shimkus. Congressman Shimkus has served in the U.S. Army as a high school teacher, a county treasurer, and currently is a member of the U.S. House of Representatives for the 15th District of Illinois. Among his duties in Congress, Congressman Shimkus is a senior member of the House Energy and Commerce Committee and Republican leader of its Environment and Climate Change Subcommittee. He also serves on the Health Subcommittee and the Communications and Technology Subcommittee, the Next Gen 911, Recycling, Coal, Steel, and Baltic Caucuses, and the NATO Parliamentary Assembly. Congressman Shimkus has worked with colleagues on both sides of the aisle to pass legislation that directly impacts us today. For instance, the designation of 911 as the universal emergency number for both landline and cell phones. Technology that allows for 911 mapping and locating, so that today, when you call 911, our equipment will locate within 10 feet of the location of your phone. Placement of heart defibrillators in schools. Use of biodiesel and ethanol in fuels for vehicles. And if I remember correctly, he purchased one of the first flex fuel vehicles in the area. Congressman Shimkus has had legislation signed by Presidents Clinton, President Bush, President Obama, and most importantly, his office hosted the Highland Chief of Police and his family in the summer of 2019 as they toured Washington, D.C., and did a fantastic job and made a very memorable experience. Congressman Shimkus was elected to the House of Representatives in November of 1996 in what was then the 20th Congressional District. He currently represents the 15th District, which includes all or parts of 33 counties that stretch from Danville in the north to Metropolis in the south, the Indiana border to the east, and his hometown of Collinsville to the west, where he and his wife Karen still live. So please help me give a very warm bulldog welcome to Congressman John Shimkus.
Emma, nice job. Thank you, Chief, for the kind introduction. Thank you for allowing me to come here today on a very special day. Why do we have a Veterans Day? It's a time for us to pause and reflect on those who answered the call to serve, and some who serve in far-off places and in dangerous times, and some who, like me, as I wrote down here, I'm a tweener. I was between major conflicts, and so a little bit safer that way, but the military profession is always a dangerous one in training and the like. But I need someone to help me, so I'm going to ask Josh over there to come on up here. So kind of stand right here. We'll be right there, right there. You good? Yep. All right. So Josh is going to help me to make sure that we kind of focus on, well, what is a veteran? So, Josh, you got to put this on. Oh, okay. All right. I think it'll go. Yeah. All right. This one. So as Josh puts on this battle dress uniform shirt, he has then become a military soldier or airman or someone in the Navy who's answered the call to serve. When you enter the military service, you take an oath of office. I'd like to read it. And it's I, and then you state your name. I don't want you to do it right now. Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. So you're swearing an oath to the Constitution. So when you're taking your government classes and they talk about the importance of the Constitution, the people who decide to serve in the military, they are swearing to defend that document against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And I think some people would say today, because we've got to wear these masks, that we have a domestic enemy, and that's this COVID-19. And we do have our military involved in trying to fight it, but we also have our first-line responders that we thank so much for trying to fight this risk to our government in this. And that's why you need to do all you can do, right, properly, so you don't help spread a disease that's destructive to our way of life. So against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that he will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and that he will obey the orders of the President of the United States. Again, going back to the Constitution, the chief executive officer, the commander-in-chief, is the President of the United States. So that's where this comes in on this oath. He's going to obey the orders of the President of the United States and the orders of the officers appointed over him. Now, I served as an officer in the Army, and I had soldiers underneath me, and I was able to say, do this and do that. They were bound by their oath to do that, but hopefully in military leadership, the idea of leadership is not forcing people to do things. It's encouraging them and inspiring to do that. So when you ask them to do something, they're going to do it not because they're constrained by the oath. They do it because they have love and respect for their leaders, like chief, people who lead by example. According to the regulations of the Uniform Code of Military Justice, so help me God. So that's the oath that someone takes before they put on the uniform. And then when they put on the uniform, they are a service member. And those service members, they are in multiple professions. Some are war fighters. Well, they're all war fighters, but some are the trigger pullers. Some are helicopter pilots. Some are military police. Some are medical service people in hospitals, and they get sent all over the world. And they go where they're sent. But then eventually, their time of duty ends. And that could be a 3-year hitch, or it could be a career of 20 plus years. And eventually, when that time ends, they take off the uniform. And they put on, still okay?
Yeah.
All right. They put on a veteran's hat. This signifies, now I hope you don't get in trouble because it says Collinsville on it, right? It's not Highland. But then you automatically, once you leave, you become a veteran. You have served. So what you are doing today is you are thanking those folks who have served. Now, they may not all walk around with a veteran hat on, right? But they're here, and they're in your community, and they're in your schools, and they could be a teacher, and they could be the custodian. They could be in administration. They could be at the hardware store. But what all of these folks have in common is that they put on the uniform, they answered the call to serve, they went wherever the country told them to, they got out of uniform, and they came home. When we focus on Veterans Day, as you all do, we're taking a time out to thank the men and women who've answered the call to serve. Sometimes in very dangerous times. It was amazing after the terrorist attacks of September 11th, 2001, to see the young men and women voluntarily enter the military. Because that's dangerous times. And you probably know some folks. My dad's a Korean War vet, so he was in Korea. Most of those folks and the World War II vets are no longer here. But we have Vietnam veterans, and we definitely have Grenada and Panama and Afghanistan and Iraq. So many of these veterans are in this area. They're Vietnam era, Afghanistan, or Iraq veterans who have answered the call to serve in defense of their country. So that's what you do here today, and that's what we're doing, is to thank the veterans for answering the call to serve. There's always going to be a need for young men and women to answer the call of service. There will always be wars and rumors of war. Veterans Day is on November 11th. Why? Because after World War I, for those history students, World War I was the war to end all wars. Well, that wasn't quite true, was it? So there'll always be wars and rumors of war. But we pause at 11 o'clock on November 11th, 11/11/11, which was when they signed the peace treaty, and that's called Armistice Day originally. We now call it Veterans Day to honor all veterans who've answered the call to serve. And by what you are doing here and what the school has done over the years is to pause to thank our veterans. And I also think it's a great opportunity to remember that your nation needs you at certain times, and that we'll all be asked to serve in one way or the other, whether it's to be a good voter, election day, right? Or a good citizen, involved in local government, involved in helping good candidates, serving in the military. Our nation needs you to serve honorably. And I think that's another good thing when we pause and think of those who've placed the uniform on and become veterans, that we also know that we have a role to play in keeping this, what we call a constitutional republic, safe from all enemies, foreign and domestic. It's been a great honor to be with you here today. Thank you all. God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America. And thank you, Josh.
Thank you, Congressman Shimkus. Poetry has the power to connect. It provides insights into thoughts and ideas about our country's history and increases our understanding of service and sacrifice. Poetry teaches us more than just our history. It expresses the individual experience and allows us to be present in a particular place and time. Poetry creates a shared human experience. It gives us a view into the thoughts and feelings of others. The poem, The Noble and Brave, a Veterans Day Tribute, invites us to experience the thoughts and feelings of veterans as they have served and sacrificed for our country.
The Noble and the Brave, a Veterans Day Tribute. When America had an urgent need, these brave once raised a hand. No hesitation held them back. They were proud to take a stand. They left their friends and family. They gave up normal life. To serve their country and their God, they plowed into the strife.
They fought for freedom and for peace on strange and foreign shores. Some lost new friends, and some lost their lives in these long and brutal wars. Other veterans answered the call to support the ones who fought. Their country had requirements for the essential skills they brought.
We salute every one of them, the noble and the brave, the ones still with us here today, and those who rest in a grave. So here's to our country's heroes, They're cut above the rest. Let's give the honor that is due to our country's very best.
Even though we cannot honor you in person at our annual assembly this year, we still want to recognize you and your branch of service. So, when we call out your branch, please take great pride in knowing that we are showing our undying gratitude and appreciation towards each and every one of you for defending our freedom. Thank you. Veterans, when we call out your branch, we would like for you to stand up, proud, nod your head, any symbol that shows you recognize that we acknowledge you and your service. If you have served in the United States Reserves, please be recognized. If you have served in the United States Merchant Marines, please be recognized. If you have served in the United States Coast Guard, please be recognized. If you have served in the United States Navy, please be recognized. If you have served in the United States Marine Corps, please be recognized. If you have served in the United States Army, please be recognized. If you have served in the United States Air Force, please be recognized. And at this time, I would like to ask for a moment of silence to recognize those fallen but not forgotten American soldiers who are unable to be with us today. Thank you to the HMS Band. Veterans, at this time, we would like to simply say thank you for your service to our country and its citizens. Your undying love and support to preserve our freedoms will never be forgotten. May you enjoy your Veterans Day knowing that you are loved and supported by your HMS family and friends and the millions around the great country of ours. Thank you for watching our 2020 Virtual Veterans Day Assembly.